Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Dale Barzy. And as always, if you like what you see and hear, subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Here on Nurses Talking, we speak to nurses anywhere in the world and at any stage in their nursing journey. And today, I am very, very pleased to welcome Dr. Marketa Houskova. Dr. Houskova is the current Chief Executive Officer of the American Nurses Association, California branch. And she says she started as a volunteer, being passionate about nursing, policy, and politics. She was born in the communistic regime of the then Czechoslovakia, and she emigrated to the US via England and Canada to pursue her American dream. She's passionate about global public health, and she has participated in several health missions in Panama, Tanzania, and Haiti, and she's also deployed to Houston and the Czech Republic after devastating floods in both of those areas. She's been actively involved in a number of political campaigns in the Czech Republic, the US, and Europe, and she volunteered on the first democratic election in the Czech Republic in 40 years, and she served as a political advisor. And Marketa is a member of several professional associations, and she serves on boards. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to the very accomplished Dr. Marketa Houskova. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate your kind invitation, and thank you for that lovely intro.
So, what inspired you to become a nurse?
I think that it was always in my genes, because when I went into first grade and when I graduated from my master's, I was so happy that I achieved that I sent the master's announcement to my grade school teacher. She was absolutely incredible. We were her back then. We were her first class. We were her first students after university. So we had a very special place in her heart. When I sent her my announcement that I got my master's, she mailed me a picture drawing from first grade when the teacher asked, what do you want to be? And people were writing, I want to be teacher, I want to be astronaut, I want to be president. I drew a big figure, but she was a nurse. There was like this little red cross on her bonnet. And so I was 6, I wanted to be nurse. I wanted to be pediatric nurse, which I then got to be. Then I changed specialties and I was working in OR, in anesthesia department. But it's been always, I think it's been predetermined. It is who I am, that is what I do. But I have to say that my mom keeps reminding me, Marketka, but you're not a real nurse anymore. Meaning I'm not at the bedside.
I know. But Mom, I am.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions now. So why were you not allowed to attend university in Czechoslovakia?
Well, because back then it was under communistic regime, and the communistic party had the decision-making power to decide who gets what education and who is allowed to study what. And when I applied for university entrance, they told me that you're already educated enough because you already have education. So we need to give you to others. So that's where it ended. And then after I participated, I was fresh out of nursing school, but after I participated in the Velvet Revolution in my country, where after 40 years, we finally kicked the communists out of power, 2 years later, I realized that I no longer want to be studying in my own country. I really want to, while still nursing, I want to study politics and democracy and global systems and global public health and how to make the world a better place. And I need to study, where democracy has been known to be strong, and that's in the United States. So back then it was very difficult to immigrate to United States and really get papers and get green card and all of that. So I didn't speak in English because I was studying Russian for 13 years because it was compulsory. So I didn't speak a word of English. So, but I had my nursing degree. And so that, and I'm hungry and my name is Marketa. That's all I knew how to say. I went to England. And for about a year, I was au pair or nanny
Yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
small kids because I was a pediatric nurse. That is on my diploma. I'm a pediatric nurse, and so or on my wall. And so that really saved me. And then after 1 year in England, when I was like, so how can I get to America? Oh no, you can't. It's really difficult to get there. And I thought, okay, so I'm gonna go the next place closest. And I went to Canada. And again, nursing degree saved
Yeah.
me, a nursing degree with maybe like 6 sentences now after a year in England. Nursing degree again opened the world to me because I was able to offer my pediatric expertise and be again nanny and
Mm-hmm.
and then also because I was studying at night, I was studying English and studying, trying to figure out Canadian nursing. And so I was studying at night. I had 3 jobs, and I was also housekeeping, and I was cleaning bathrooms in pubs, and I was scrubbing floors. But I was in Canada. I was in beautiful Vancouver, and life couldn't be better until my parents came to visit. And again, my mom, my mom is a rock star. Again, my mom is looking at me and it's telling me, Marketa, this is so sad. You could have been a head nurse in your hospital, and now here you're cleaning floors.
Cleaning.
Said, yes, mom, this is temporary. I have a dream. I have a goal. Whenever it is that I will figure out how to get through nursing to America, I will study. I will study politics. I will study global health. I will study administration, and I will be making the world a better place. It did take me 20 years, but I think this year is my 30th year away from home, and or maybe 28th year away from home. So it took me 10 years to get from Canada to the United States and get my papers. And I had to do, because I'm not a native English speaker, I had to take, I don't know, 15 English exams and written exams and spoken exams and conversational exams. And then in order to be allowed to take the nursing boards in Canada, there were all these requirements for foreign educated nurses. So there was another 5 years of working on that. And then when I got my Canadian license and my Canadian residency, then I looked at, can I now, with Canadian residency and Canadian nursing, can I apply and see if I can get visa to work in the United States? And back then there was a severe nursing shortage. And again, nursing degree, even if I didn't come from Canada, nursing degree allowed
Yeah.
me finally the opportunity of my life, excuse me, to get to the United States, to sit for NCLEX, to get my American nursing license, and to really start looking at opportunities in hospitals. So nursing degree has been my saving grace, and so it is my absolute honor and privilege to lead professional nursing organization, to be speaking to nursing students, to be speaking to my colleagues in hospitals, as my mom calls them, the real nurses, and and being trying to change the landscape of California nursing and really increase the number of nurses in policy and politics and in
Yeah.
media. We are woefully underrepresented. And
Yes.
since
Yes.
we are the largest healthcare employee group, in California, there is more than 500,000 registered nurses, and we are not
Mm-hmm.
represented in the House of
Yeah.
Powers. And
Yeah.
yet, right, it is the state or the federal, but mostly state elected officials that makes laws about nursing practice and nursing education.
Yeah.
And that's why I am so set on trying to make the world a better place and help nurses. And I have to say that every time I go with our fabulous lobbyist, Roxanne Gould, every time we go to the Halls of Powers here in Sacramento in the state capitol, and we talk with elected officials and we tell them this is really important and this is why. So I do my arguments and then they look at me, but Marketa, nobody's calling us. I understand that it may be important for you and your organization, but I have not heard from one nurse in my district. So what are you guys doing? And I learned to answer, we are taking care of your family. We are taking care of your constituents. We are saving lives of your members. We are working double shifts. We are behind closed doors.
Yeah.
We are really very busy at trying to keep healthy your communities and your voters. And it is my job to be representing my members and their interest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I love
Yeah.
what I'm so happy that I can get to do this incredible work. And there is only few of us who is doing this type of work in California. And
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
So I have a question though. Do you see that there are the majority of nurses actually joining organizations, participating in the organizations or not?
I think it's if I take it true, I didn't do my original nursing education in the United States. I got my other education here, but from what I'm understanding when I'm talking to nursing students and even to my colleagues and friends on nursing faculty, we're not teaching it in nursing schools. And I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying that you should be teaching, you must join this organization or that organization. That is not the point. Nurses have free will
Right.
to decide what organization they want to join. But the important part is that we are not teaching the importance of politics and policy. We are not teaching the importance of nurses in media. But also, on the other hand, when I speak with my colleagues, educators, the jam-packed curriculum they have to cover. Of course, I understand that there is no place anywhere. So,
Yeah.
so some of the fabulous professors that know that who knows that I exist, they invite me to
Mm-hmm.
to their schools and to come to their classes, usually an hour a semester. And then I just talk exactly the way I talk with you. I just talk
Mm-hmm.
about who I am. I just talk what we do. I talk about the importance of politics and policy. And it takes me 12 minutes tops to just when I start talking for the nursing students to go, oh my God, how come I don't know that? And the
Yes.
moment, right, you reach that breaking point, you know that their nursing practice will never be the same, right?
Yes.
They will all
Yes.
understand that being part of media or educating the public or educating community or serving on I don't know, advisory councils or clinics in your community. Nobody's saying that right now you have to be, running for Congress or that you have to do politics full time. And I always make sure that all my colleagues and all the nursing students, I always say, whenever it is the right time for you in your nursing career and in your life, you will know when it's time
Yes.
to get a little bit more involved in politics and policy. I
Yeah.
remember when I was in ICU or when I was in a recovery room, there is no way, I just barely survived, right? My
Yeah.
father, and we all have bad backs and knees and necks and
And
shoulders,
bladders.
right? So I barely survived my shifts. I loved it, but I was so exhausted. And so
Yeah.
where exactly and when exactly should I be then involved in politics and
Yeah.
policy?
Yeah.
But the time is right in one's nursing career, right? There is importance to be involved. And also just the fact that they are aware, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully one nurse at a time, one nursing student at a time, we're trying to change it.
Exactly, exactly. It's important to plant the seed, whether or not it comes to fruition right away, and it probably won't. But until we as a big group make our voices heard, people are not going to listen. They're not
Yeah.
going to listen. So, and I
Yeah.
can imagine that for you, it's an uphill push, given that there is so few people doing what you do. That
Yes,
it's an
yes,
uphill
yes,
push.
yes, it is. But you accept the role and you accept the responsibility. And every day, I am astounded that I got to be in this place, in this role, in this organization. And I am not saying that, oh, it was just like, no, it was 30 years of hard work and right and sacrifices and difficult road. But that's why I think I am really appreciating and I am truly valuing it. And since I've been, in hospitals in America, I know how hard the work is. And I haven't been at the bedside for, I don't know, last several years. So I cannot even imagine how harder it is right now. But the resilience of nurses and the nursing strength and nursing spirit, especially during pandemics or especially during fires now in the right
Hmm.
fires or disaster areas. My board members, some of my board members at ANA California, they are disaster relief nurse. They are in command centers, right? They're looking after nursing students. They are trying to figure out how to help people on the ground. So we in nursing and we as nurses, we have this incredible wide reach. And
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then you need to kind of step back and realize, oh my God, you can do all these things. So whatever journey is the best for you in nursing, just do it. Take care of yourself, take care of your patients, take care of your family, and take care of your community, right? I think, think locally. No, think
Think
globally,
globally.
right? That's how it is. Yeah. I
Think
think I got
globally.
it wrong, but I got it right.
But speaking of thinking globally, clearly you do, and you have spread your wings in many areas. Um, were you always a global thinker, or did that come about, or was it nurtured because of the fact that you are a nurse who's practiced in different places?
I think this is so strange because I was just talking to my parents a couple of 4 years ago, and we were talking that while it was so interesting because while we lived under very specific and very rigid dictatorship, my parents brought me up to be free thinker and global thinker. We always talked about politics. We always talked about issues. We always talked about global and foreign events. And when you realize that I was 5, 6, 7, and you were really not allowed to talk about politics, you were not allowed to critique your government, you were
Yeah.
not allowed to really question anything. And my parents were still doing it inside our homes, and it was
Yes.
absolutely clear. And all us children, we all knew that we can never say these things out loud because there would be punishment from the
Yeah.
system. But that's how it was at my home, where we always listen to Radio Free Europe. We
Mm-hmm.
listen to Voice of America, Sunday, I
Yeah.
think, afternoons or something. And, we did go into our basement, right? And then very quietly, we were trying to find on the ham radio, we were trying to find the signal. But I think that showed me the power of free thinking, of people being
Yes.
educated, of talking to your family, educating together, discussing current events. And then as I grew up, I did not agree with many of the things that my parents or our friends were discussing, but it was absolutely normal and it was expected, and that's how it was.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
we used to have political debates. And then, so I've learned how important it is to be discussing politics and policy. And then when Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia came and we were all demonstrating, and I was in Prague and I was demanding communist government to be thrown out. And then I went back to my little hospital, to my regional hospital. And then I said, okay, so yesterday I was in Prague and we need to do something here in this hospital. And they were looking at me like, what exactly do you think that you want to do? Think globally, act locally. And I said,
Yes.
we really need to unite, and we really need to go to this hospital leadership, and we really need to stand up for what is right, and we need to demand that they resign. So when I was talking like this, that's when I understood that wars and revolutions are done by young people. I had
Mm-hmm.
nothing to lose. All my colleagues, they had kids, they had mortgages, they had loans, right?
Yeah.
They had to look at different priorities, but it
Yes.
agreed with me. So I always talk about the story how we go, okay, let's go to the cafeteria and we're gonna tell them. And everybody was telling me, yes, let's go, we're gonna tell them. So I am marching there and I'm
And
starting speaking. Then I look around and
you
I was
show,
by myself.
you show up alone.
And
Yes.
then as I started to speak, and I was not mean and I was not derogatory, I was not
Yeah.
disrespectful. I just spoke to the power. And then I saw how people were starting to show up and how people supported me. So that's what I realized. And I was 18, 19. That's what I realized, the power, right?
Yeah.
Words and politics and policy and nursing, the
Yeah.
power we have. And I have
Yeah.
carried it with me ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. The power, the power. And that is one of the things that we don't realize that we have. I think we don't understand our power.
I think we understand the power when we're inside institutions, educational or clinical
Yeah,
healthcare. We know the power. We know the power of advocacy. We would never accept, order that doesn't make sense. We would when we take care of our patients and when we see that a patient needs something, we pick up the phone, we call the physician or we call the social worker, right? We know how to do all of that for our patients or for others. I
of
think we
others.
need to more realize that this attitude and this approach and this incredible energy we have to take it outside institutions and keep continuing to advocate for the others, but also for ourselves.
Also for us. Also for us. Also for us. And do you think in looking at the nurses, people coming into the profession now, it seems to me that they are less inclined. They're less inclined to accept some of the things we accepted. So maybe not you, because you, but some of the things that my generation accepted, I think they're less inclined to accept those kinds of things. So I think you see in about 10 years or so.
I think I've seen exactly this, and those are things where I thought I was revolutionary. I was revolutionary girl, and yet now I am realizing I was terrified to call in sick when I was sick.
When
Right,
you,
I was
yes,
terrified to call my hospital and say I really can't move or I have a flu. I cannot come to hospital because you knew the pressure that
yeah,
would be exerted on you that, oh, you're
yes,
young, you don't want to work. So, there were times I was sicker than my patients, but I
yeah,
was terrified of calling in, right? But what I was not terrified to speak up that we need to change policies and we need to change things and we should not be doing it like this because
yeah,
every time under communistic regime and the first 10 years of my housekeeping career, every time people were asking me, oh my God, Marketa, how can you do this? I mean, you could have done this and this and this. And I said, I understand that that's what you did. However, every time somebody told me, oh, but this is how we always done it, or this is how we always do it. If I lived by that motto, I am still sitting on that couch in that
yes,
hospital, in that OR, and I would be still working with my colleagues who many of them are still working. And there is nothing wrong with that.
I
I
get
respect
it.
they're incredible nurses. They are working in difficult conditions. There is nothing wrong with that, but it's not for everybody.
It's not. It's
So
not.
that has been my motto. And so, the new generation of nurses, I think that I am glad where I see that they go like, why have you guys been doing it like this? This is terrible. We're just not doing it.
Mm,
Whereas they told me, and plus I was a foreign nurse, I spoke with accent, I was constantly not sure.
I know.
It was very difficult for me. But now, new generation of nurses, I hope that they will change the status quo, but also I feel heavy responsibility for the environment
Mhm.
we let them in and the
Yeah.
environment we help to create, even though
Mhm.
I felt I had no power. I was this little foreign nurse with
Yeah.
accent. In a hospital, I just tried to do the best for my patients. I tried to do the best for my colleagues, and I work all these extra shifts, and I just barely survived. And because it was so physically
Yeah.
demanding,
Yeah.
and so I thought that I tried to do my best, but the healthcare system, nursing system, lack of nursing representations, the incredibly harsh conditions nurses must work. And I don't mean, just in disaster
Yeah.
areas, but it is difficult. It is physically and mentally challenging and really draining. And let's say that during the pandemic, when here in the state of California, when there was a legislative proposal to create mental health resources for nurses, the state legislature voted it down.
Yeah.
And so you go, so you are clapping for us. You are
Yeah.
serving us pizza. You are showing us everywhere in capes, which I really don't like because we should not be superhumans to be doing our job. Um,
Exactly.
but then when we ask you, because we need resources, because we are mentally exhausted, because we see people die left and right, you voted down.
Yeah.
So that broke my spirit a little bit, I have to say. So I've been struggling with that for like a year and a half. And then I realized this is politics. This is what it is. You just have to go on and you just have to get your fighting spirit back. I've always had fighting spirit, but a little bit of my soul got broken during
I know what you mean. I saw that happen. I saw that. What would you say that you would think of as a most essential quality of nurse? If you could tell me that in one word, what would that word be?
I think determination.
Determination. That's a good one.
I should say compassion or empathy. I get that. But if you don't have the determination to go to nursing school, do all the prerequisites, do one of the hardest degrees out there, then go and look for a job, start as a new nurse in a hospital where you go, oh my God, nobody prepared me for this. Then be taking, basic care of patients, then go to ER, then go to ICU, then go to PACU, then in the middle of all of that have family, and then deciding I want a little bit more education because I want to be part of changing the system and changing politics policy. So on top of all of that, you go back to school, you take loans, you're working hard. Then you get promoted at work, and then you have bigger family, and you have all these responsibilities. And throughout all of it, we are delivering timely, quality, appropriate care. We are compassionate. We are empathetic. We are just incredible.
Yes.
And it took stepping away from 18 years of bedside in various countries to realize when I started like this office work, I thought everything must be done by 5 because people will die. So, oh my God, this must be done. Oh my God, I cannot sleep because I must send the document and I must make copies.
Yes.
And after like 2 years of that, when I was exhausted, I realized, what am I doing? But that was the nursing mindset, the determination, right?
Yes.
The evaluation, the planning, development, evaluation, performance, right? Trying to advance yourself, trying to help your community, help your family. And so I think determination, but of course with compassion and empathy and dedication. But I think throughout nursing life, how sometimes difficult can be and rewarding, I think the determination plays there a big role. I hope I don't come across as heartless.
No. But speaking of that, because a couple of times you mentioned about how difficult it is, how draining it can be, and all of that. And for most of my career, it never even occurred to me to put myself in the equation as someone that needed to be taken care of. So what does self-care mean to you, and what do you do to take care of you?
I know I am the CEO, and I know I should have, I think, all these answers, and I should be a role model. I am really trying, but it is my staff that is telling me, Marketa, you keep checking on us. Are you okay? Are you drained out? Are you burned out? Because half of my staff must be creative in terms of planning and having ideas. So I am always checking on them. Take half a day off, you look exhausted, right? I don't need you to be burning yourself out so you will leave. Then I am very bad leader and very bad human. And so I'm always checking on my staff. And then, I don't know, a couple of days ago, we have a staff meeting in the office, and they're looking at me and like, you look exhausted. I was like, no, this is new makeup. I look good. No, Marketa, you know what you're always telling us. You need to take care of yourself. You need to do this. You need to do this. And then when you hear it back, you go, yeah, it's okay. I can. It's okay. Yeah. I don't have to work 16 hours a day, right? Because that's the overachiever in me, I think.
Yeah.
So I am still struggling with it. I am trying to be better, but I am still struggling with it. But I am working on myself. And I really do want to be a good role model, and I want to be a good leader, and I want to be a good human. But in order to be those things, I need to be okay, and I need to be healthy. But it's a struggle. Is it struggle for you?
I'm still working on it. Yes. I'm still working on, believe me, I'm still working on it. So yes, I get it.
Me
It's
too.
almost like innate. That it's something that we have to actually, it doesn't come naturally.
But there was a colleague of mine, one of our former board members, and she told me that was a few years back, maybe 6 years back, when she told me how exhausted I was. And she said that she learned to put thinking time on her calendar, right? One day or one afternoon or block of 3 hours, like every 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
so she said usually she does this on Friday because, right, she was an educator and then she was practicing. So there she was really exhausted. And she goes, this is how you really prioritize yourself because you see it on your calendar. And
You have to, yeah,
we all live by our calendars. At least I live by my
yeah,
calendar.
yeah.
So the fact that she said this is what she does, and she is this incredible educator and this highly accomplished person, and she seems to be doing everything with this ease. And I'm just thinking, oh, I guess, she is like much better in this than me. And she goes, no, no, no. I just
No.
put it on the calendar. And this is how I show myself and others that my well-being is important.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
have
I
to
have
put it on
these
the
sticky
calendar.
notes. So I have these sticky notes everywhere in my office, right? Like, take care of yourself. To be great, you can't be small. I don't know. I have so many quotes here. And over here, I have like, leadership is not a popularity contest. Please take good care of yourself. I have it written here for myself. And yet I am still struggling with it.
I know, I know, I know, I know. And you keep telling yourself, I'll just do this, I'll just do that. And then, yeah.
Yes. And then
Marketa, it's,
I am really struggling that I would let people down. And that is
yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah, I know. And that's part of the nurse thing in us.
Right.
That thing is not anything that is taught. That's where we came from in the beginning.
I absolutely
Yeah,
agree. So I'm hoping that the new generation nurses will not have it like this.
I
And
hope not.
but also I think that then, as the elders now in the room, when they are trying to change the system, I think for many of us, or some of us, or many of us, it may not be comfortable because, right, we say
Yeah,
we've done it like this. This is, we're doing our
yeah,
best. You just accept it, but they don't. And that is the privilege of the young or the
yeah,
younger or new
yeah,
generation.
yeah, yeah.
And even if it is not popular or even if it is not easy, but we always need to do the right thing.
We need to do the right thing. We need to do the right thing. And I know that, as you mentioned, it is hard for a lot of us to accept that. But you know what? We're nurses. We can do that.
We
We
can
can
do
do
anything. I mean,
it.
seriously, we can do anything. And it's not a
Yeah.
slogan. I've learned that we can
Yeah,
do it.
me too. I've learned that. Marketa, thank you so, so very much for this conversation. I cannot tell you how I've enjoyed it or how much I appreciated your presence here. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
I so appreciate your kind invitation, and this has been absolute joy. And again, thank you to you and to your listeners. And what an honor and what a privilege.
My pleasure. My pleasure.